Crosses in the Woods, A Satanic Panic, and Devil's Teeth. All that and more on this week's Ancient Journey, The Murder of Jeanette DePalma. But before we begin, don't forget, if you enjoy our content, hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. Now let's get started. It's just the start of fall in Springfield, New Jersey, and there's a dog getting a good morning run in and out of the woods that surround an apartment building. The dog runs and runs with something in its mouth, pausing just for a moment to drop it, staring across the lawn at a woman who's just walked out of the apartment building. Perhaps the dog thinks she'd like to play with me, but the woman's eyes widen, her mouth opens, and a terrified scream emits from deep inside her. The item that the dog has dropped onto the lawn of the apartment building is a decomposing human forearm. 6 weeks. It's been 6 weeks since she went missing. Jeanette DePalma was supposed to take a train to a friend's house on August 7th, 1972, and she never made it. On that day, the 16-year-old Jeanette would leave her home for the very last time. And when she didn't arrive at her friend's house, and she didn't arrive at home, the next day, her family would file a police report with the Springfield Police Department. And 6 weeks later, when that dog brings part of Jeanette's arm to the lawn of the apartment building, a search party forms and fans out into the wooded area behind the apartment building. It's a nearby crystal and gravel quarry, not far from a historic golf club and the Watchung Reservation. And there, the rest of Jeanette's remains are found on top of a cliff. The scene at the site of the body leaves many of the witnesses shaken, or at least that's what the rumor says. They report seeing DePalma's remains surrounded by a series of small, makeshift crosses. And they also state that the body is surrounded by a perimeter of branches and logs, almost as if a coffin were being built right there in the woods for her. And in addition, residents shudder when it's discovered that Jeanette's body wasn't found just anywhere. It was found on a cliff inside the quarry property, a cliff that the area locals would call the Devil's Teeth. The story about the crosses and the coffin leaks out into the public very quickly, and it doesn't take long for the story to change even more, soon claiming that DePalma's remains were found lying inside a pentagram and surrounded by animal remains. But that's how a lot of these stories go. It's known as Satanic Panic. It's a common thing in small, quiet towns in the 80s when something bad happens. The introduction of heavy metal and dark satanic imagery into small conservative towns has many people blaming Satanists for every bad thing that ever happens. Satanic Panic happened in the United States in West Memphis, Arkansas, to the West Memphis Three, who were tagged as Satanists who were hell-bent on child murder. And in New Jersey, there are plenty of stories about Satan, literally the New Jersey devil, which keep folks' minds spinning away. In fact, the county where Jeanette is found actually has a rich history of tales of Satanism and witchcraft. There is a tale of a clan of 13 sisters who are known to be witches and who kill numerous children in a local ghost town known now as the Deserted Village. The witches are eventually tried, hanged, and then buried under what is now a road known as Johnston Drive. Their bodies are left behind as bumps in the road. And rumor has it that no matter how many times that road is paved, patched, or dug up, that drivers still feel those 13 bumps from the sisters buried underneath it when they travel across the roadway. But Springfield police aren't interested in wives' tales or folklore. Their autopsy of Jeanette shows no evidence of broken bones, bullet, or stab wounds. There's no drug activity seen on or around the body, and no DNA can be recovered. The coroner suspects that strangulation is her likely cause of death, but they never say how they arrive at that conclusion, which keeps the Satanic Panic alive and well. In addition, the coroner discovers that Jeanette's body contains an unusually high level of lead, but again offers no explanations. Police begin to focus on a homeless man who lives nearby. It was rumored that he had fled a small campsite he had set up in the woods shortly after Jeanette had gone missing. But investigators soon rule out the homeless man as a suspect. There is a lack of tips from the public, and there are allegedly inconsistent stories told to the police by Jeanette's family. In addition, several local newspapers report that she had been killed by Satanists or witches. Sadly, despite all of this news, Jeanette's case goes cold. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, the magazine Weird New Jersey begins to report on the cold case. The magazine's editor, Mark Moran, begins to investigate many of the claims surrounding the case. Soon, Mark teams up with Weird New Jersey correspondent Jesse Pollock to write a book on the case, Death on the Devil's Teeth, the strange murder that shocked suburban New Jersey. Together, they discover several instances of a possible cover-up, connections to other unsolved murders, and also some previously unknown suspects. But despite uncovering these facts, the authors are confident of one thing. It's not likely that the occult had anything to do with Jeanette's murders. The rumors about the crude crosses and a makeshift coffin, well, they make for a scary story. But those images are absent from any of the crime scene photos. They simply weren't there. It was all just a rumor. Perhaps the scary bedtime stories surrounding this case has done one thing. They've kept it alive. No one has been brought to justice for the murder of Jeanette, but her case is still talked about to this day, and mainly for all the wrong reasons. The website justiceforjeanette.com has a full case history, and this August, Jeanette will have been gone from us for 50 years. Thanks for watching, and thanks for sharing the journey.